stern welcome.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Dean Sundaram, so much for such a very kind introduction. Graduates, faculty, family, and friends, isn't it wonderful to be here today? Now, for me, it's wonderful not only because I have the honor of speaking to the 2022 graduating class of one of the oldest and most prestigious business schools in the world. But congratulations. But because I'm doing so on the very same stage, graced by such legends as Megadeth, Motorhead, Toad the Wet Sprocket, and not to mention 2 weeks from now, the World Series of Darts. It's a dream come true. Now, graduation speakers are supposed to dispense worldly advice, and in thinking about today, I certainly felt the pressure. I was concerned I might say the wrong thing and inadvertently send the entire professional lives of this class down the wrong path. But knowing that the only memory some of you will have of commencement ceremonies at NYU will be Taylor Swift, I found it incredibly liberating. So my goal for you today is somewhat modest. I want to share an idea with you that will help you as you go off and build your careers. And even if years from now you don't remember where you heard it, or perhaps you'll think Taylor told it to you, it is something that can become part of your approach to your career and I hope to your lives. Now, Stern has already taught you so many important skills: analytical thinking, decision making, ethical reasoning in professional responsibility class. But you're not done. In fact, the most important part of your career and your education is in front of you. And it's not part of the education you can receive at the B school. It's at the E school. Yep, the E school, where E stands for empathy. Yes, I know, that empathy is a touchy-feely sort of skill. If you wanted to get all soft and fuzzy, you'd have gone to the College of Nursing or to Tisch. And certainly, that's how empathy has long been perceived in the business world, where sharp elbows have tended to be the preferred means of getting ahead. But what's become clear to me during my career is that empathy is the most important thing and skill you can learn. Empathy is what gives you competitive edge. It's about understanding. It's about connectivity. It's about forming connections. Empathy demands that you are in tune with the times. It enables excellence, the excellence we strive for every day. And contrary to popular belief, empathy can be studied. It can be practiced, like networking or negotiating. And that's why you go to E-School, where there are no classrooms, there are no lectures, there are no midterms, and there are no professors, because everybody will judge your work. There's also no tuition, though the lessons are priceless, and there's no graduation, because you never stop learning. You're probably wondering about the classes at E-School. Well, in B School, you take classes in accounting and statistics, but in E-School, you learn what's behind the numbers. This has been most essential to me most recently, as I've had to steer Citi through the tragic consequences of the war in Ukraine. We're the only American bank operating in Ukraine. So this war, it's personal. It's directly impacting our people and our clients on the ground. And our first priority, of course, has been and still is the humanitarian crisis. We help the people and their families, our people and their families, to get safely to Poland. We similarly help some of our clients flee the violence. And then we met our Ukrainian colleagues at the border, and our amazing team in Poland opened their homes to them. These same people have kept our bank in Ukraine up and running to support UNICEF and the other agencies delivering critical aid on the ground and helping keep the supply chains running. And let me just say this. You will find that the soul of any organization comes from the successful organizations are those that do not shy away from displaying and from celebrating empathy. Now, one of the most important lessons I learnt at eSchool happened after I'd been at Citi for a number of years. At the time, I was running the private bank out of London, and let's just say the more glamorous end of financial services. But I wanted a new challenge, so I raised my hand and I moved to St. Louis, Missouri to run Citi's mortgage business. And it was quite a departure from what I'd been doing. This was while the bottom was falling out of the housing market during the end of the financial crisis, and our business was in dire straits, as were our customers. So, I turn up in the Midwest with my accent, not knowing the business, to lead it out of the crisis. And this is when I realized, you have to earn the right to lead. Just getting the title of the boss doesn't cut it, particularly in Missouri. The pressure was on. I had to act fast. I did. I did nothing. I just listened. Have big ears. That's right, big ears. It's what your Dean Emeritus, Peter Blair Henry, once guided and advised me to have. What it means is parking your ego to one side and really understanding someone's concerns and motivations and even their criticisms. Because if you're not listening, you're not learning, you're not understanding what it's like to be in the other person's shoes. And once you do, it is much easier to have the tough conversations. And that was pivotal for me in St. Louis because ultimately I had to shut down much of the business. But because I had listened, I could speak to our team with empathy. And so I was able to get their support to make the changes that we had to. And if anything has demonstrated the importance of eSchool, it's been the last 2 years living in the pandemic. Never before in any of our lives has there been a moment like this when we've all had to walk in each other's shoes. We're all just trying to figure out how to get through this pandemic. We were brought closer than ever. The old formalities, they fell by the wayside. And what did they reveal? Our humanity. I think my colleagues' kids and most of my clients' pet names during those 2 years. And the pandemic allowed us to champion an idea that was quite foreign to Wall Street, the importance of work-life balance. And I will always appreciate the flexibility I've been fortunate to have as a working mum when I was able to work part-time for 5 years. So at Citi, therefore, we were one of the first in the industry to acknowledge the world had changed, and we embraced the opportunity to do things differently. We were one of the first to commit to a hybrid approach to working back in the office. We created Zoom-free Fridays just to ease the relentlessness of remote working. And a very interesting thing happened. In most cases, our people, the quality of their work improved, and so did their productivity. And that is a reminder for you all, as you go forth in your careers, please never be afraid to challenge the status quo. And this is something that is much easier to do if you do it with Yep, you guessed it, empathy. So eSchool is going to expand your perspective. eSchool will deepen your insights about the world. It will constantly challenge you to understand where others are coming from, and that will be the single most capability any of us can have at work and in our lives. And to prove to you that I'm still at eSchool today, I'm going to empathize with you right now, because I know that my speech is one of the last things standing between you and your diplomas. So I'm going to conclude. First, I am going to congratulate you, not simply on this graduation, splendid though it is, and which you probably thought was the final day of your education, but on what I hope will be the beginning of an education that will last for the rest of your lives. Let me leave you with one final lesson. Don't forget to show empathy to the most important individual of all, yourself. Because the person you are today, it's going to continue to evolve. And you have to remember yourself some slack. Because in the immortal words of Taylor Swift, she said, shake it off, shake it off. Shake it off.